Hello and welcome back to Norfolkfords. In today's video we are looking at the 6310 John Deere and we're going to be removing and replacing the injectors. So to start we come around the side and we have to disconnect all of the exhaust. So we start by disconnecting the turbo, the main drop pipe and the clamp that lives under here. Once this is removed, you can start taking off the brackets that hold the pipework on and the filter housing. Once these are dropped down out of the way, you then have access to the exhaust manifold bolts, as well as the oil return pipe and the oil infeed pipe for the turbo. Luckily, with the bonnet removed, you can lift the manifold and the turbo straight out of the top. Easy as that. You then need to take the time to undo all of the pipe work that goes to the injectors, including the bleed off return on top. Next you want to slacken off the pipes on the injector pump so that you can pull the pipes backwards and out of the way for access. Next we remove the bolts that hold down the injectors. Now we start with the challenging bit. With the correct kind of pry bar, you need to slowly pull the injectors up out of the sleeve. Try not to damage anything during this process. As you will see shortly, I had great difficulty with one or two of these injectors, but with a set of water pump pliers you are able to grab hold of them, give them a little twist, and generally they should come up. In a short while you will see the extreme method for removing injectors, which is the last resort for very stubborn injectors. As you can see here, we've gone back to regular speed, and you can see how tight these injectors can sit in the cylinder head. So a little bit of WD-40 does go quite a long way, but you'll see in a sec they will just pop out, and all you need to do is just keep rocking them back and forth with a little bit of wiggle, and eventually they do pop out with the pry bar. See, just a little bit more perseverance and you'll get there. Don't expect this to be a quick job if you need to attempt this yourself. But here you can see the injector. These are called pencil injectors because of how small they are, and very simple design, a big spring and a rod down the centre of the injector, and there's not really much else to say, but the injectors are on the way out. It was very spluttery when we started removing the injectors, so this is going to be a big improvement for the tractor going forward, and we'll have a lot more years out of her yet. Sadly, the camera didn't focus very well at this point, but you can still see the tip of the injector has shattered and disintegrated. So this means we can't inject, this is not a very good injector, and this is why we've had engine problems. So it's a good job we're swapping all of these out. Yep, number 3 came quite easy. So now we move on to number 4, and this is where a good bit of this video is going to take up, because I'm actually going to show you how to remove an incredibly stubborn injector. You can see here I've got the bar under, same as I had with the others, and we've got movement side to side. We can jiggle this injector, but we just can't pull it up. I've got a lot of force on this, you know, I'm not going to do any harm by trying to pull this injector up. But it is being very stubborn, so we're going to bring out the big guns. Now, it is worth mentioning, obviously, dealing with such a high temperature flame, we are using this near a fuel line. Diesel is quite hard to combust in this sort of situation, but this is an old tractor, covered in dust, covered in old oil. Yours will probably be the same. Be aware you could set fire to something, especially like a wiring harness or something a bit more fragile. When you do this, you will melt the seals that go with the injector. This is fine, we're going to replace them anyway, but it just means you have more debris to clean up afterwards. You don't want any of that debris falling down the injector hole, down into the cylinder head. So these are all just factors to bear in mind. So as you heat up the injector, you don't want to heat the injector directly, you want to be heating the head around it. Again, we don't need to get this red hot, we just need to warm this quite well so that we can get a little bit more movement out of the injector.
Jesus Christ. I do not know why that one was so stubborn, but it is free.
After that long painful process, we're going to celebrate with a cup of tea, we're going to clean down the head, and then we're going to start cleaning up the exhaust manifold and everything else that needs to be reattached. I'm just making a start here with the sharp edge of my wire brush here, just to clear all the major parts of debris. And then I'll come back with a little wire wheel attachment on my drill, just to shine everything up. And then I'll finish that up lastly with a bit of emery cloth. Remember to clean the oil line as well when you are doing the turbo. And then the same cleaning process on the head, just the wire wheel, remove debris, and then emery cloth to finish. When I put the injectors back, I tend to put them in with a bit of copper slip just to make them go back in the hole a little bit easier. When you install them, make sure you've got the seals in the correct order and the right way around. There is a correct way, look them up in the manual, but it's just to do with the position of the copper washer that seals the injector down to the head. And of course we're going to keep cleaning down the head as we go to make sure we're getting nothing down into the cylinder head.
Invincible.
Now we just give them a quick nip up with the torque wrench. Of course this will depend on the model you have, but of course all these details will be available in your manual. Another quick clean up, and then we're going to start installing the injector lines, then the bleed offs on top. I would recommend lining everything up first before you tightening down everything tight. You will probably have to undo the top half of the injector pipes anyway to bleed up the tractor when you come to starting it later. It's important not to over tighten any of these pipes. They are very fragile on the threads and you will have to replace them if you strip the thread. Now we come to putting in the manifold and the turbo again. When you install these, it's easier to have a friend, but on the 4-cylinder like I have, it's quite easy to put in on your own. You just need to have a bolt ready in your pocket and slip it in. But for a 6-cylinder, I'd recommend making some studs. So just cut the head off of the old bolts because you do need to change them, or it's recommended at least to change them when you install a new manifold. So you can just cut the old ones up and turn them into little studs that you can slip on and do up nicely. But here you can see I'm just sort of arranging everything, getting it in the right place. Then I'm putting the bolts in and I'll slip the gaskets in from behind later. When it comes to torquing up the bolts for the manifold, you want to start from the middle and work your way out. The torque needed will depend on your model again, so the best way is to check the manual depending on what you're driving. Putting the turbo oil return pipe in is quite a fiddle sometimes. If you are very clever, you can put this in at the same time as the turbo, which makes it a hell of a lot easier putting everything back together. But the pipe will slip by most things and you will eventually get it into place. Everything on this tractor just requires perseverance and a bit of patience. That's the best advice anybody can give you for working on any John Deere, really. See, just give it a tap and a little clean up afterwards and everything's good. Make sure you give that a nice good clean because the oil out of there is very high pressured, even on the return side. That will be quite a nasty leak if you get this gasket wrong. I will always recommend changing the input seal for the exhaust oil as well, because how hot the turbo gets, this seal always goes brittle by the time you actually need to take this pipe off. I would always change this O-ring. This is a good time to start checking all your smaller connections. Make sure the clean air pipe is in place, all the oil connections are in place, and just make sure you're not going to have any diesel leaks anywhere on the line that you don't want to have leaking on purpose. Bleeding these tractors up on your own is next to impossible. Make sure you've got a buddy for this step, just because one of you will have to turn the key and the other will have to check the pipes. Go on! Good whistle! Now that the tractor is running again, all you need to do is install the silencer as you removed it. This can be a little bit fiddly, lining up the mounts as well as the clamp, but with a bit more perseverance, like everything on this tractor, it's all there. Next, you want to give this a good wash down because you've got an oil grease everywhere. Give it a good wash because these older tractors deserve a good bit of love. So, I thank you very much for watching this very long tutorial on how to change a very testing injector on a John Deere 6310. I hope you liked it. If you did, please feel free to share and leave a comment. And of course subscribe. We release a video every week with farming related content. We've got lots of projects in the pipeline that you do not want to miss out on. So thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next week.